my God. You guys come and sit down and shut the door. Maureen Comey has been fired. I repeat, Maureen Comey has been fired. This is the same girl for the Diddy trial, the same girl for Epstein, and the same girl for the same Maxwell. Now, listen, we got to talk. I have never been one for deep state. Y'all know I like to talk mess, but I've never been one for deep state. But you guys, what is going on? She was fired, but not for the reason you think. We're going to go through all the articles. We're going to figure out what's going on. But let me just say this. And I'm just going to say it. This makes me actually believe that this Diddy trial was a setup. Now, hear me out. I know there's a lot of people that weren't in the courtroom. I know there's a lot of people that read the inner city press, his live tweeting. I know there's a lot of people that followed along. But let me tell you something. I was in the courtroom for 7 or 8 weeks, and there were dumb people. He's a lie. Because I gave y'all my opinion of what I saw and heard. But let me tell you this. I saw, and I'm just putting it out there, and this goes into my larger theory. I saw the passion Maureen Comey put into her arguments. She was the best prosecutor out there. She literally put her heart and soul into those arguments. At one time, she looked like she was about to break into tears. When I tell you this was personal for her, it was personal. And I don't look at that as a negative thing. I know people, he said, hey, why are you taking it so personal? What is wrong with y'all that the world is burning and y'all want to play it cool? This is not the time to play it cool. Rome is burning. And if nobody told you, Rome is burning. And you are not Nero watching it burn. You are Nero sitting there in gasoline draws. We all need to be concerned that the world's burning. But hear me out. Maureen Comey put her heart and soul into those arguments. So when people said, oh, I think that she threw the case, she's James Comey's daughter, I said, maybe. But it might not have come across in the tweets. It might not have come across, but in person, if you were in the courtroom, you felt her passion. You felt it was personal. So I always was like, I don't think she's actually going to I don't think she's throwing the case. Now, what I will say is I thought they ran out of money. Damian Williams, when Damian Williams was the head of Southern District of New York, let me just say this. I'll be quick, and then we're going to get into the articles, and I'm going to tell you what I think is going on. Damian Williams was head of Southern District of New York when the Diddy investigation started. He was the one that authorized the raid. He was the one that flew special teams over to London. I heard they were maybe planning on going to Belize. They was ready to take Diddy down. And then what happened? Think about it. What happened? When did the case slow down? When did the case lose funding? When did they start taking people off of the case? Because you need a lot of resources to take people down for a RICO case. When did that happen? Think back. And this might make some people upset, but I'm asking you to just withhold judgment until I get through the end of the point. When did that stop? I'll tell you when it stopped. Trump, out of the blue, said, I don't think Damian Williams is doing a good job. The biggest case of Damian's career was Diddy. They were flying overseas to take that man down. This was going to be an epic RICO case. Trump then said he was going to fire. And if you're MAGA, just let me finish, okay? Let me finish, because there's a connection. And yes, it has to do with the Epstein thing, the way Trump's handled Epstein, and the way Trump handled Ghislaine Maxwell. And I swear to God, if Trump ends up pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, we're going to have an issue. So listen, all of a sudden Trump says, I don't think Damian Williams is doing a good job. Damian Williams, all of a sudden, he starts like fighting with the Trump administrations. Trump then tells Damian Williams and everyone that effective immediately, he's going to let him go in a little bit and hire his guy. It was a literal start date. Damian Williams resigned before his firing date, Trump put his guy in the Department of Justice. Department of Justice, and the Senate has that new head of the Southern District of New York. And then all of a sudden, the Diddy case slows down. The Diddy case gets stalled. The Diddy case loses funding. Coincidence? Maybe. But now that we see what happened with the Epstein list and the way they're saying that the Epstein list never existed and we're being stupid and we should just move over. And now that Pam Bondi, who's being dragged left and right, looks like she leaked to Politico that Maureen Comey was being fired, I have to really ask, what is going on? There are too many things. On top of that, to say Maxwell said she's testifying in front of Congress over what really happened with Jeffrey Epstein, and think about it. They're saying Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a list. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. Okay, an innocent man offed himself, right? The Justice Department released a video that 24 hours ago had a minute listing missing, and now it has 3.5 minutes missing of Jeffrey Epstein's suicide, right? All this stuff is going on, and the Justice Department, and you thought, and I kept thinking, I think they're gearing up to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. Because if Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a list and he was completely innocent and all this stuff happened, then why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? And Ghislaine Maxwell just said, I'm going to testify in front of Congress and tell what I know. Now, she hasn't been pardoned. We don't know what's going on. But let's also not forget, right? Listen, because what does this have to do? Who said this? The Crash Out report said it has to do with Epstein and trying to please MAGA. But here's the thing. I don't think that he's trying to please MAGA anymore. He is on MAGA's ish list. MAGA is sick of Trump right now. I think Trump is just trying, and his people around him, there's something bad going on. Because also with the Pam Bondi thing, Diddy and Epstein were super tight. I've always maintained that I think Diddy looked at what Epstein was doing and was like, I can do this better and do it cooler. There's a tie between Diddy and Epstein. It just strikes me as odd that all these people are now either going to be pardoned, they're now innocent. Jeffrey Epstein, there was no list, there was no this, there was no that. And then the White House is telling us, and now Pam Bondi has directly from the top fired Maureen Comey. But why did she fire Maureen Comey? I know some people are going to be like, it's because what happened in Diddy trial. I'm telling you, I was in that courtroom. Nobody is that good of an actress. Maureen Comey, it seemed personal. At one point, I was like, does she know someone close to her that went through something like this? Did she go through something like this? It was very, very personal. It didn't come across in the tweets. That's why there was such a disconnect between people that weren't really in the courtroom and people that were reading what's going on and the people that were in the courtroom. The people that were in the courtroom, feeling the energy, not the overflow room, in the courtroom. Most of them had a different opinion about how well the government was doing. That's why it was shocking that the jury came out with the decision they did. And it was shocking that the government didn't have more information. But when you look at the fact that Trump put his people in charge of the Department of Justice, and then they short-circuited the budget for the Diddy trial because they were going overseas to London, to Belize. It was even in the New York Times, they started an investigation in London. They were planning to connect his World Wide Web. But of course, they ran out of money. Let's get to the Maureen Comey thing, because Pam Bondi has had egg on her face all week. The Trump administration, MAGA is so angry at the Trump administration right now. Okay? It's like you can't play in everybody's face like that. And the fact that now Pam Bondi, not only do they fire Maureen Comey, but they point out that she was the person in charge of Epstein and the person in charge of Ghislaine Maxwell, but Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail. So what? How does she have a defeat with Ghislaine Maxwell? Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail. Jeffrey Epstein, he was suicidal, but he was on his way to jail too. The only person that escaped through their grasp, right, barely, because Diddy does have 2 federal sex crime convictions, is Diddy. But let's not forget, that Trump, and there are no actions. Let me tell y'all something. The White House controls every single question that's asked in that press poll. The facts that Fox News stood up. Trump and Fox News are like this. I don't care if you're a Trump supporter or not. Y'all know that Fox News and Trump go together real bad, right? They're like this. A Fox News reporter stood up in a press conference and said, what about, and I think they were talking about like, I don't know, peace talk, something really, I forget what they're talking about, but it was some international story. And you got the nerve to say, what about Sean Diddy Combs? Is there any truth to the fact that you're going to pardon him? And he was like, yeah, if he's treated unfairly, I will pardon him. Nobody, listen, I know a con when I see one. I know a setup when I see one. I know a soft launch when I see one. And that was a soft launch. Just say Maxwell, let's get into this because you can't make this up. You honestly cannot make this up. Listen, this is so weird to me, odd to me. This is weird to me. This is odd to me. This is actually scary. And you guys, I don't want to be like, ooh, tinfoil cap and deep state. And usually when it's deep state, I'm arguing with my uncle at Thanksgiving over whether deep state exists. But this is weird. This is odd. Okay. Listen, now Trump posted this earlier today, and I want you to listen to me. And if you're a Trump supporter, please let me know what you think because he posted this earlier today. We're going to read this. And tell me this doesn't sound like he's gearing up to launch the campaign to justify pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. All right, listen to this. The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again. Now, mind you, all the Republicans voted to block the Epstein file from being released, but then they blamed it on the Democrats. But if it was all, why wouldn't you release? Okay. And again, I don't want us to get into party lines because I feel like that's where they're dividing us. Democrat and Republican. When right now, when it comes to this Epstein list, they literally seem like it's two sides to the coin. Bill Clinton was on that plane just like Trump was. Bill Clinton was buddy with Epstein just like Trump was. Alan Dershowitz, buddy with Epstein just like Trump and Bill Clinton. I think when it comes to the Epstein files, the reason why it's so whatever is I think there's a lot of high-ranking politicians on both sides that were on that list and were on the island. This is what he traded in, okay? They said the radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom. I mean, Hunter Biden was a crackhead. Okay, fine. And even the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in her 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates. Okay, so first of all, already Trump is bringing out his greatest hits. Bum, 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 right? Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this BS. Hook, line, and sinker. Trump campaigned on Epstein. MAGA elected him, a certain portion, on Epstein. They bragged about having the list. They bragged about exposing Democrats. Pam Bondi said she had the list on her desk. Okay? We're about to get into the Maureen Comey firing. I'm just giving you guys a little insight before we get into the deep state stuff, right? Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Jeffrey Epstein was actually unalived on his president. What is going on in the world? and my past supporters have bought into this BS hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. I've had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history, and all these people want to talk about with strong prodding by the fake news and the success-starved Dems. I hate him. And the success-starved Dems is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention. Okay. So now Trump is trying to say that with this whole Epstein thing and the list and all the connections to deep state, Diddy, Ghislaine, Maxwell, that all of it's a hoax. If all of it's a hoax, then why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? And why did you just sorry, hold on. And why did you just fire the prosecutor that put her in jail? Why did you just fire the prosecutor that put her in jail and put Jeffrey Epstein in jail? If it's what? Okay. Do y'all see the setup? Let's get into why they're saying she was actually fired. You guys, I think they're setting up to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. And I feel like they are setting up for a Diddy pardon as well. They said Maureen Comey, this is direct from the New York Times. Maureen Comey, a Manhattan federal prosecutor who worked on the criminal cases against Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, was fired on Wednesday, according to 4 people of knowledge on the matter. This came directly from Pam Bondi. Let's not forget that Comey's name still rings in these streets, which is odd because James Comey was the reason a lot of political analysts think that Hillary Clinton was not elected president. At the last minute, they did the October surprise. James Comey said, what about her emails? Said that blah, 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 blah. It swung the election enough that Trump eked out. And then later, and Comey never corrected it. So for the fact that they're acting like James Comey is a hero for the left, when James Comey went out of his way to get Trump elected, he was a huge Trump supporter. And he's one of the main reasons why Trump X'd out that victory ahead of Hillary Clinton. Again, they're trying to rewrite everything, but that is exactly what happened. Okay, so let's get into this, right? The reason for Comey's firing was not initially clear. Her dismissal immediately raised questions given her involvement in cases that have roiled the White House in recent days, as well as the fact that her father is a former FBI director, James Comey, who was fired by President Trump during his first term. A spokesperson for the SDNY declined to comment. The White House press office did not immediately respond to requests for comment, including about whether it had asked the Justice Department to fire Mrs. Comey. Trump has in recent days claimed without evidence that the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes were concocted by James Comey. We saw that there's an Epstein file. We saw the flightless manifest. We heard what happened on the island. There were not just hundreds, but thousands of victims. And they were there. Oh my God, where is it? There is a, where is it? There is I don't know if I want to play it, but there is an actual interrogation. Not interrogation. What do you call it when somebody, God, why can't I think? There's a deposition of Jeffrey Epstein where the lawyers were asking him, is it not true you were gifted 3 underage girls, I think 3 12-year-old girls as a birthday present? And they were French and they were flew out to you. And then the day after you got done opening your birthday present, you flew them back. We know for a fact that Jeffrey Epstein and the issue he was going through existed. What is a link to Diddy? They just also told us when we saw Diddy force someone to go to a freak off on camera after he beat them. We're talking about Cassie. We saw Diddy doing these things on camera, and they went out of their way to tell us that Diddy was innocent. Not only was he innocent of RICO, even though they didn't give them any budget, they shorted it out when Trump's people got in, but he didn't do anything. And he's now, if he pardons Diddy, I don't know what's going on. I do know that at the end of the day, they then tried to tell us with the president saying if Diddy was, what did he say? If Diddy was, well, if he's treated unfairly, I'll pardon him. Why would he say that? What else did he have on the president? Why would he, even though he just might have been messing with them because Trump loves to mess with people, but also remember all those servers that were seized out of Diddy's home? What happened to those servers? Again, I get it that with Cassie and Jane, he had private freak-offs, but are we going to act like numerous party planners didn't go on record and say that Diddy had orgies too? This was something that we knew. It didn't come from the lawsuits. It came from the party planners speaking on record to legitimate sources about what was going on. Anyway, let's get back into this. Let me get to this article and then we'll get into the deep state stuff. I've never been a deep state person, but even for the last 4 days, I've been sitting there and being like, what the hell? What the hell is going on? Now get this. But again, I get it that he fired Comey during his first term, but Comey was a hardcore Republican. I think he still is at heart. President Trump has in the recent days claimed, without evidence, that files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes were concocted by James Comey, as well as by former Presidents Joseph Biden Jr. and Barack Obama. He is crashing out. Maureen was given a letter informing her of the termination. 3 of the people with knowledge of the matter said. 2 said that the letter said that Maureen was being fired under Article 2 of the Constitution, which describes the powers granted by the president. So Trump, and I want to listen, I'm going to go to the comments really quick when we get through this, because I want to hear what you guys have to say. Trump is saying, so if he got she got a letter saying she was fired under Article 2 of the Constitution, that means that Trump 100% fired Maureen Comey. Maureen Comey is the only one pushing for Diddy to do hardcore jail time. She's recommending the maximum. Maureen Comey was the one fighting for Diddy not to get out on bail. Maureen Comey is the reason why Diddy did not get bail. You had to hear the impassioned speech she gave. I don't care how it came across in tweets. I was in the courthouse. The girl was windmilling. Nobody is that good of an actor or actress as it will be. Okay. Now, and this is a question if you are a former or current Trump supporter. How do you feel about the fact, if it is true, how do you feel about the fact, if it is true, that Trump fired Maureen Comey for what? And if he did fire her, is that directly going to lead into the government's position on how much time that Diddy should get? And let's not forget that the head of Southern District of New York that controls everybody is Trump's guy, who's Maureen Comey's boss. Now, before everybody was saying Trump is starting a task force to get rid of PDF files. Trump is doing this, Trump is doing that, Trump is going to whatever. But now that we see that Trump is now saying that everything we knew about the Epstein list, and this is everything that he told us about the Epstein list, is not true. All right? Everything is not true. And this is what we were told, okay? Hold on. So let's get through the rest of this article and then we'll get into this. But I want to know, like, if you are a Trump supporter, how are you feeling about this? Do you think that there's no do you think there's no connection? I'm genuinely curious. Are you still riding with him? Do you believe what he's saying about the Epstein? And I'm not even trying to argue. I just want to know, do you believe what he's saying about the Epstein files? And if you do believe, okay, but if you don't believe, what does that mean? Because this is as deep state as you can get. This is as much as I'll do as I please as you can get. This is as much as don't believe your lying eyes as you can get. And to say that she got fired over the Diddy trial, no, because they're going more into it. However, right? They said that, I think that this is a distraction from Epstein, 100%. I think this is a distraction from what's going on with Epstein. Now, there is a world that if you believe that Maureen Comey, let me just put it out, because, if you believe that Maureen Comey threw the case with Diddy on purpose, which I don't think that makes sense, but if you do believe, then that means that this will result in more charges for Diddy. Because now the person that was running interference for Diddy and playing PSYOP, she's out of there. So that means that these other charges for Diddy, because the guy's dirty, it's going to come. But I think this is a 100% distraction for the Epstein thing. Her last name, she gets fired by the president for no given reason, and it's supposed to distract everybody because he literally blamed Comey, her father, for making up the Epstein files along with President Biden and President Obama. Okay, right? Again, there is a world where Trump is not planning on pardoning Diddy, and he's going to give more charges against them because it's like, give them Diddy so they don't talk about Epstein anymore. And that might work, but they haven't given anybody for Diddy. And the same way to say Maxwell looks like she's about to be pardoned by what Trump actually tweeted earlier. If just say Maxwell has info on Trump, why wouldn't Diddy have info on Trump too? I don't know. Something's going on in that White House. Something's going on in that White House. All right. Listen, I think that they're going to there's a chance that they could give Diddy more charges, give the public Diddy so they can stop talking about Epstein and blame the cover up on Maureen and her father, even though, how are we saying that James Comey, this is President Trump's own words, that James Comey is behind a fake Epstein hoax? You're trying to tell us that the Epstein file does not exist and it's James Comey that made it up? What? This is as deep. I'm not even a deep state person, but you guys have to admit, this is as deep state as it gets. This is the epitome of don't believe your lying eyes. What are you talking about? This don't even make any sense. This does not even make any sense at all. This doesn't make any sense. Hold on. One second. This doesn't make any sense. Anyway, they said Maureen was a prosecutor in the criminal case against Epstein. Epstein got convicted. Did he not? Did he go to trial? Anyway, they had him. He was about to go to trial. Okay. So he hung himself before he could go to trial. She was on the team that prosecuted Ghislaine Maxwell, his one-time girlfriend, who was convicted of sex trafficking in 2021. She got that case too. She was also a prosecutor on the trial of Sean Combs, who was acquitted of the most serious charges. Again, this is a developing story. It will be, okay? The interesting thing is, this is interesting timing, because the Epstein thing, something that everybody in the White House wants us to stop talking about. And this doesn't matter whether you were a Trump supporter or not. Everybody was behind the Epstein files coming out. Everybody wanted to see those files. Democrat, Republican, libertarian, anarchist, it didn't matter. Everybody wanted to see those files. I think the country can come together against PDF files. I believe the country comes together and unites against PDF files time and time and time again. Okay? So it's interesting timing when you think about it. I'm looking to this article because this Epstein thing is really becoming a thing. Again, one could argue that Maureen Comey got fired to take the fall because her father made up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, right? According to Trump, along with Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Y'all don't remember. I followed that James Comey thing with Trump so hard during the election. James Comey was Trump's, I don't care that they fell out later. They fell out because Trump got tired of them. James Comey was Trump's loyal dog. He was Trump's original fanboy. He's the reason Trump got elected. Y'all remember what he did. And listen, put your politics aside. James Comey rode hard for Trump to get him elected. He believed in Trump. So for now, you're trying to convince us that James Comey made up a Jeffrey Epstein's hoax with Barack Obama and Joe Biden? Sorry. Here's the problem with that little lie. The North remembers. I can understand if you're talking to people a generation ago. I can even think if you're talking about an election that happened 16, 20, 30 years ago. You cannot make us forget, sir, for things that just happened in your first term. This is ridiculous, but let me just go on to say, right? Listen, Pam Bondi is in deep doo-doo with this Jeffrey Epstein list. Partly because she said she had the list on her desk and she couldn't wait to read it. She is the Department of Justice. Trump is the president, but we still look at who's in charge of the Department of Justice to do justice. Pam Bondi and Trump, he is super, super loyal to her. She is super, super loyal to him. Okay? This would be a way for the White House to fire someone without Pam Bondi having to take the fall for the Jeffrey Epstein letter. Okay? And again, if you are MAGA in the chat, speak for yourself. Answer for your brother. Answer for your brother. But if you are MAGA, right? From what I understand, because you know I read everything. I've been in the Reddit chat rooms. I've been in the MAGA chat rooms. I've been trying to see, like, what's tea? Literally, because the girls are fighting. I've been trying to see what's tea. MAGA is out for blood. And I think the White House think they found a fall guy, which is Maureen Comey, but I still don't understand why she was fired. I still don't understand why she was fired. Because what? Girl, what? Anyway, right? Again, I get it. The Southern District of New York didn't do themselves any favors because this would have been harder to do if she was fresh off of a win from the Diddy trial, okay? Because the whole world was focused on that Diddy case. And when that Diddy case, they didn't seal the deal, the victims and everybody else felt let down. Now, I think, as your favorite federal informant. So I went to the employee meeting because if you guys don't know, I'm a paid federal informant and a federal reporter, you know. So I went to the employee meetings with the feds and I was like, what's going on? What's tea, you guys? What should I be reporting? Right? If you guys don't know, all the rumors are true. I am, in fact, a paid federal informant. You guys got me. They bypass all mainstream media outlets. They bypass Mr. Beast. They bypass Rotten Mango. They bypass YouTube channels that have billions of views and hundreds of millions of subscribers, and they found my little YouTube channel where before the Diddy video, before the Diddy thing that I covered, I had 535,000 followers, and they found my channel. And after my Diddy coverage, I now have 610,000, which I am very, very grateful for. But apparently, they found my little modest channel. And they said, forget Rotten Mango, forget Mr. Beast, forget all these people. Where's Tisa? You mean the girl that got 500,000 followers? Yeah, bring her up. We're going to violate every single doctrine we have in the Southern District of New York. We're going to violate New York State, New York City, New York local, and also federal law to give payment to a YouTuber of 500,000 followers. I know that some people, that might be a lot, and maybe just yesterday it was a lot to me. It still is a lot. But they decided to bypass the YouTubers that got millions of views. And literally, when they say something, it goes around the world. They decided to bypass all that and find my channel, which focuses largely on celebrity scandal, which I love it, and pay and violate several laws, and also risk the case being thrown out for a mistrial so they could pay me to stand in that court and go outside and report. I feel very honored. I would like to say thank you to the Southern District of New York for risking it all and taking a chance on my little humble YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you. So to all the haters, you guys are right. And that is very, very clever, critical thinking that you guys would even throw that accusation out at me. I will say I am surprised, but no, I'm disappointed, but not surprised, because once again, your critical thinking skills and your critical thinking skills, it shows why. It shows why. It shows why. Anyway, you guys, right? Anyway, but again, I just want it, because when people say stupid stuff, I like to delve into it and really get to it. And I said, really? They risked it all on my little 500,000 YouTube subscriber, not people that got millions of subscribers and a bigger reach and a bigger thing and actually go. No, they're going to risk it all. But these are the people, the critical thinking people, that people. Literally, when I heard that thing, you was paid by the Southern District of New York, right? I literally was like, what's not clocking to you? What's not clocking that I'm standing on business? It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you on so many levels. I was like, when people are that dumb, and when I say dumb, I'm not talking about somebody's intelligence. I would never insult somebody's intelligence. I'm talking about there is something to be said for people that are willfully ignorant. My dad always told me, stay away from people that are willfully ignorant. Because especially as you get older, being ignorant is a choice. In the age of Google, and now in the age of AI, in the age of ChatGPT, you could have asked ChatGPT, what would it be? What are the odds? And ChatGPT would have been like, girl, no, that's not. In the age of, do you know how hard you have to work to stay ignorant in 2025? Willfully ignorant. Do you know how hard that is? That's a choice. And if you're an adult and you choose to stay willfully ignorant, that is a choice you make every day. And that makes you dangerous, because day in and day out, you choose to close your eyes. You have to fight reality, and everybody else trying to be like, no, the sky's blue and the sun's yellow. You literally are fighting to stay ignorant. You want to stay in that cocoon. And people that fight that hard to stay willfully ignorant, they are dangerous, because they will sacrifice everything so they can stay willfully ignorant. And they are capable of doing anything to stay willfully ignorant. It's hard to stay willfully ignorant. It's an everyday fight to not let critical thinking and any type of intelligence get in your head. It's a fight. It's a fight. It's a fight. Woo, one that whatever. But let's get back into this deep state stuff. So I was at the employee meeting for all the federal paid informants and people that took payments and defied judges' orders to take payments from the federal government to read court documents and remind everyone that Diddy is a violent, depraved POS who put most likely car bombs, beat up women, put car bombs, and literally thought he was living in season 1 of Empire. And that's just a little smidgen of the stuff Diddy's done. Again, there's a reason why everybody around him was afraid of him. Anyway, so I was at, an employee meeting and I'm like, what's tea? Like, what's going on? First of all, I want to talk about the cafeteria on the 8th floor. I think it is woefully unsupplied. And I think as federal agents and informants, we need better selection at the cafeteria. But all jokes aside, I really, you guys, this is as deep state as it gets. There is something going on. Diddy getting off the Southern District of New York when Trump's guy came in, short-circuiting the funding for them to increase the investigation and taking lawyers, attorneys off of the case and leaving like a skeleton crew when Damian Williams was on it, baby, they was literally burning heaven and earth to get to the truth. It was a lot. Again, I think it's a lot. So listen. So, okay. Now, some people are saying that Pam Bondi made the call, which makes sense because she desperately needs attention off of her ASAP for the Jeffrey Epstein. Morgan J. Freeman tweeted, breaking, and in a complete and total abuse of power, dipshit Pam Bondi has fired Maureen Comey, daughter of James Comey, from her job as prosecutor in the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office, per Politico. She worked on the prosecution of Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, and Sean Diddy Combs. Jeffrey Epstein unalived himself, but he was about to go down. So saying Maxwell is serving, a 40-year jail sentence, even though she might get pardoned. And Sean Diddy Combs, yeah, that we all know what happened in the Diddy case, right? Aaron Perena said Comey was lead prosecutor in both Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein cases. This will only flame conspiracy theories even more. But again, I think this is having the opposite of pet. This is low-key giving legs to the Epstein scandal. And everything's happening too quickly. It's like they're trying to find a sacrificial lamb. Here, take Comey. Here, this, here, that. You know how you can make us forget about Epstein? Trump. Do you know how you can get us to forget about Epstein? We can get some more charges on Diddy. Let's get some more charges on Diddy. Listen. Anyway, Midas Touch is saying that Donald Trump has fired Maureen Comey, who was key prosecutor in the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell case. Helios Bros said Trump is featured prominently on the Epstein pedophile client list, and that's why he fired Maureen Comey. She knows he's on the list. Christians still on the Trump train love their pet. No, okay, so we don't need to read that. But here's the thing. I don't think that's why he fired, because she knows he's on the list. I think that they're looking for a sacrificial lamb, and they're trying to start a new conspiracy theory because everybody's so mad at the White House right now. Because the one thing they said was they were going to rid us of the PDF files. We're going to see the Epstein list and all these people. And if it was only Democrats on that list, I think that we would have been seen that list. I think all the Republicans just voted not to release the Epstein files. So it's whatever. Here's what I think's going on. I think that, just like he tweeted, that the Epstein list was a hoax made up by James Comey, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden, right? And this was a hoax made up by them. And now you fired Maureen Comey because she helped her dad make the hoax. But the thing is, they want a different scandal, but nobody believes that the Epstein list didn't exist. And if the Epstein list didn't exist, and if it was all a hoax, then I have to ask, why did he unalive himself? And why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail. But unless Ghislaine Maxwell actually gets pardoned, let's keep going into this, right? Listen, again, this is weird. Also, Josh Gerstein quoted, "Singularity achieved. The Justice Department lawyer who filed the key court declarations to keep the Epstein files from release under Freedom of Information Act was, wait for it, Maureen Comey, Southern District of New York." Okay. Okay, but I'm confused. The Justice Department who filed the key court declarations to keep the Epstein files from release. What Epstein's files? Didn't Trump just tell us and Pam Bondi and everybody else in the White House that those files don't exist? So do they exist or not? And if they exist, why aren't they released? You're firing Maureen Comey, but where's these files? Yeah, I don't know if I believe this. Listen, they said the MAGA blowup over Pam Bondi has been a long time coming. The Jeffrey Epstein kerfuffle is the culmination of deep-seated skepticism from the far right about Pam Bondi. Again, this to me is tied directly to Diddy. Again, they put new people in the Southern District of New York. Damian Williams was the head of, they were scorching earth going after Diddy. They had literally flown to London and expanded. They were expanding to Belize. They were definitely already in London. And what actually ended up happening? Trump put his guy in and the investigation got starved of funds. Could be a coincidence. Maybe they're broke. I don't know. They got starved of funds. But then, hold on, y'all. Where's my phone? Hold on. I'm looking for my phone. They got starved of funds. But then, right? Now, all of a sudden, Maureen Comey's fired. There's no Epstein letters. Am I the only? Hold on, MAGA. I gotta get into MAGA. If there's anybody MAGA, you guys, if there's anybody MAGA, this is a safe space. But what are you guys thinking about this? I honestly need to know. Where is this? Voiceless Majority said, so let me get this straight. Pam Bondi just fired Maureen Comey, one of the lead prosecutors on Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell. Trump calls it a hoax. And now the woman who helped bring Epstein's network down is out. This isn't justice. This is a cover-up. Also, let me just say this, and I don't care whether you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. I don't care whether you've never voted in your life and you might be 55. I don't care. But let me just say this, okay? This is a crazy cover-up of these rich elite predators, which includes all the Diddys, all the Epsteins, all the Harvey Weinsteins, all the Bill Cosbys. This is a crazy, all the Bill Clintons, and with all those picks, all the Donald Trumps. And definitely the Alan Dershowitz. You know Alan Dershowitz, that professor, he was once respected from Harvard, that's saying all this other stuff and campaigning. Nobody listened to Alan Dershowitz. He has for the last, how long, been legally lobbying that the age of consent be lowered to 12 or 14 years old. He is a scumbag, in my opinion. It's my opinion, people. Okay? But again, I think that no matter whose side we're on, Democrat or Republican, okay, I think we can have some class solidarity. I get there's billionaires and I get there's weirdos that feel like they have to lick the boots of billionaires and protect billionaires. Because what? But they feel like it, right? Why? I don't know. My dad didn't raise a bootlicker, okay? I don't know, but but I'm talking about class solidarity. We are all what? Working class, raised in working class. I don't care if you make $1 million a year. If you have to work for your money, That means if you get fired, within 1 to 2 years, you will be sleeping at your mama's house, hopefully, right? If your mama got a house. If you are working class, which means you have to work for your money. I don't care that you got a Benz with an auto loan. I don't care that you got a mortgage to get a multi-million-dollar house. Good for you. God has blessed you. But working class means you have to work for your money. And if you stop working, there is no more money, right? If you are working class, we should have some solidarity. Whatever is going on in the White House with the Epstein list, whatever is going on with Diddy, I think that we can agree, and even with Harvey Weinstein with this new mistrial, I think that we can agree that there is a cover-up going on of these elite, rich predators. Now, we can have a conversation about the fact that if people are rich and wealthy, they seem to be into some pervy stuff. If anybody is a billionaire, first of all, if you are a billionaire, hook me up with the super chats. If you are a billionaire, come on, let's see what that thing do. But second of all, more seriously, if you are a billionaire, are there any billionaires that's not weirdos that aren't into some weird stuff? Is there anybody that has made money that has not been absolutely corrupted by it? Why is it that on elite levels, it's all into weird, pervy stuff? Is that the blessings of a hard day's work? That you don't got time to think about, you know what I want to do? I want to get an escort. Not not a beautiful woman. I'm going to have a beautiful woman as a girlfriend, but beat her up. I'm going to beat her up. And I want to get an escort. No. They're too handsome. I need somebody that looks like Kermit the Frog, but with ashy lips and a odd, arrogant tone. I need someone that looks and is shaped like Kermit the Frog, but we need them with ashy chapped lips. Yes. Wonderful. Now we need them to be hung like a bull. You want somebody, you're paying for something that looks and is built like Kermit the Frog? Yes, make sure they are bald also. Okay. Well, what about their face? We have handsome Kermits. No. I want it to look like Kermit has gotten hit in the face with a 2x4 over and over. Yes. Now we're talking. And I also need them hung like a bull. I mean, I guess. Yes. And they cannot be over 5'11". Okay. Very specific. Very childhood traumery, very, very specific, but you like what you like. Okay. You know, if it was me, I'd been like, somebody go look at all the pictures around Janice Combs' house. Does any of these people in these pictures look like, like, I don't know. If I was looking at the pictures, I'd be like, what happened the night at this party? Who's this gentleman right here? He looks familiar. You know how, like, when it's trauma, you keep somebody, like, they keep getting someone that looks like the original person that caused them trauma. Anyway, he's looking, like, is this what being a billionaire is? Yes. Now that we have a well-hung Kermit and the Frog, but hit in the face, literally. Yes, what we're going to do is we're going to have freak-offs. They're going to last hours. We need baby oil. I'm going to spray it on them, put them in a pool, make them hold position for hours. And then when I want them to use no protection. And then, yes. And then I'm going to go into the room. And then I'm going to sleep with my beautiful girlfriend, who I also beat up because got to show Kermit I'm running this show, right? And then spread it on my chesticles. Like, is this what having to worry about your electric bill does? You don't have time for those things. When you got to worry about how to make your mortgage, you don't have time. When you sitting there trying to figure out how to build a better mousetrap so you can beat this rat race. Is that what it is? You remember when you used to always hear when you were younger, idle hands are the work of the devil. And I'd be like, shut up. In my head, I didn't say it. I would dare not say it. But in my head, I was like, shut up. Idle hands are the work of the devil. I'm trying to literally chill, eat some Captain Crunch, and let these idle hands like turn the TV. I got some cartoons to watch while I'm eating Captain Crunch. I used to always be like, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. But now that I get older, I see what they're talking about. Diddy had idle hands and idle Tootsie Rolls, and that turned into the roll call. Is this the blessing of actually having to work for your money? That your mind never wanders to such sick things? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Oh, really quick, Crash Out Report said this has to do with Epstein and trying to please MAGA. Gabrielle, you're right, Crash Out Report. I think, but it's not going to work. Matt, let me tell you something. MAGA is not stupid. I think they know who they voted for. And I think they have reasons for who they voted for him, right? I think, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they have logical reasons why they voted for him. Well, logical to them. My whole thing is, I do think a certain part of MAGA voted because Trump said he was going to end PDF files, Epstein lists, all this other stuff. Those people that voted for him for that, they are not stupid. What does he think he's doing with all these smoke screens? What do you think you're doing with all these smoke screens? More importantly, Hustle B said, holy ish, DOJ just fired Maureen Comey. She was leading the Diddy case. She worked on Epstein. She's James Comey's daughter, and now she's suddenly gone. The DOJ has reportedly removed her from the Southern District of New York, the same office tied to some of the darkest cases in America. She has tried and brought down more sex traffickers and PDF files than we can count. They said every time someone gets close to the truth, they disappear. How deep does this cover up go? You cannot say by Maureen Comey being fired, she is part of the cover up. She got fired. She's not part of the cover up. Trust me when I say. Laura Loomer, she's crazy. And she's MAGA and she's a loyalist to Trump. Okay? Laura Loomer said, what did she say about Maureen Comey's husband? She said, today the DOJ fired Maureen Comey from the United States Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York. She's the daughter of former disgraced FBI Director James Comey. This comes 2 months after my pressure campaign on Pam Bondi to fire Comey's daughter and Comey's son-in-law from the DOJ. Maureen Comey's husband is Lucas Issacharoff. As I previously reported, he works at the current Trump DOJ, despite a long history being a Trump hater. He is the assistant U.S. attorney in Southern District of New York, working in the civil division since 2019. No word yet on whether or not he is also fired today, but he should be. Again, Sandy Bokum said, I'm going to guess Trump is getting ready to pardon Ghislaine to shut her up. The Justice Department has fired Maureen Comey, a federal prosecutor in the Sean Diddy Combs and Ghislaine Maxwell cases. Again, I do think it was low-key an actual threat from Ghislaine Maxwell when she offered to testify in front of the UN. I wouldn't be shocked if she's pardoned soon. I will say this. She better shut up. Talking about, she saw what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. She should have shut up because she might be swinging from those rafters too when it comes down to it. Okay, listen to this hoax, right? Now, this is the last thing, and then I'm going to read the super chats really quick. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Wait.
But I do want to ask you to clarify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your attorney general told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen?
No, it's not the attorney general. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats. And some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. And so they try and do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist running. He may get elected too, actually, but he'll destroy the city. I call it the Epstein.
A communist? How dare you talk about Morante? Are you insane? You guys, make sure if you are in New York, you vote for Morandi. What's his Morandi? I think that's his name. It doesn't matter. The whole point of the matter is, I mean, I'm not getting into politics. Hold on.
Hoax takes a lot of time and effort. Instead of talking about the great achievements we've had, a great gentleman yesterday, as you know, went on CNBC and he made the statement that Trump may go down as the greatest president of all in the United States. And instead of talking about the things we've achieved, we've had tremendous achievement. They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously has some very serious problems, who died 3-4 years ago. I'd rather talk about the success we have with the economy, the best we've ever had, and all of the things we've done, including the Middle East. I mean, you see it. Instead, they want to talk about the Epstein hoax. And the sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people.
Okay, y'all. Let's go to commercial break. Gabriella A., thank you. Let's celebrate your third super chat. B. Dizzle said, this is why people try to say they separate politics from things. I roll my eyes. Politics controls and influences everything, period. B. Dizzle, you are so right. Again, I've never been a deep state person. This is some deep state mess in our face. They're not even being subtle about it. Usually, deep state, somebody got to die on Monday, then 3 years later, somebody dies on Tuesday, then 6 years later, somebody dies on Wednesday. This is some straight up Putin Russian. You know, Russia, they be like, yeah, boom, Monday someone died. Monday evening, 6 people died. By Wednesday morning, everybody in the whole party's dead. And they're like, we don't know who did it. Okay, all right. This is some crazy, crazy, crazy mess. Miss Lisa said, a recorded affidavit of Katie Johnson, victim of Trump, is online. She's 13. Now, that's an interesting thing, too. I remember reading that affidavit. They actually him and Epstein actually ended up settling with this girl. What happened in the affidavit? She says in the affidavit, and they settled with her, that Trump came and did the do. And then he left and was laughing to Jeffrey Epstein. Ha, 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 I got her first. Jeffrey Epstein became enraged and brutally started beating her, saying, it was me. I was supposed to take it, because they had a bet on who was going to take her V card first. And he started brutally beating her. And after that, he raped her. So this is the story that she told. Finding your 40. Welcome to the Towers Called Screw. Shanna, thank you for the super chat. Margarita on the Rock said she's James Comey's daughter. Is a revenge tour. I think it's deeper than that. I think they're trying to use her as a scapegoat. But here's the scapegoat. You're trying to tell us that you fired her because her father, Obama, and Biden all together, and James Comey was such a loyalist to Trump before they fell out. They all made up the Epstein list hoax. And you're firing Comey because her dad made up a hoax? SPR said, this is very suspect. The 47th administration is attempting to clean house. B. Dizzle said, dictators' biggest weapons are distraction. I don't think this is distraction. I think low-key this gave more legs to this whole Epstein scandal. I don't think this is going away. Holly W. said, pardon incoming. If he pardons Ghislaine, Maxwell, or Diddy, I think it's going to be really a test of MAGA to see what they're really supporting him for. Everybody has different excuses on why they're supporting him. We're about to see what's actually real. Facing Truth said Maureen Comey will be fine. She and the others of the prosecution team did a wonderful job. She still has grace and favor. Let me just say this, Facing Truth. Thank you for being a member for 12 months. I get it. Some people choose to say willfully ignorant. and say that Tita lied. However, I was the only one out of their bum asses that was actually in the actual courtroom. Right? But I will say this. I saw the job the prosecution did. The prosecution, especially Maureen Comey, did an outstanding job. You had to see the emotion. You had to see the skill. Maureen Comey is a very, very, very talented attorney. Let me tell you something. She is going to be fine because a private firm is going to snatch her up. And unlike making a few $100,000 at the Department of Justice, she is going to make bank, like wealth bank, working for a private defense firm. She will. Like when I say private defense, a private law firm. She will. They're going to snatch her up. She's probably going to be bought in at a salary of a couple of million, maybe even 3 million a year starting. Like the connection she has and also how good of an attorney she is, she will be fine. But I am saying this. She did a phenomenal job. That's why I was so shocked when the jury came back with their decision. And again, everybody forgets about the car, about this, about that. And they're acting like because the jury decided we're not going to send this man to jail for life, that he's in it. Well, we'll see. I don't want to rehash that. I'll rehash that in a different video. Let's talk about the way. Is the pardon coming for Diddy? B. Dizzle said, nothing in the world is more dangerous than the sincere ignorance. Thank you. Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Yeah, thank you. I don't even think they have sincere ignorance. I think they have conscientious stupidity. Thank you. Martin Luther King, like my dad said, somebody that is willfully ignorant, they are a dangerous person. In this day and age, do you know how it's not like we are back in feudal times with pitchforks and like looking at pagan gods. It's almost impossible in this day and age when information is at like an access and any dumb question can be answered like that for you to stay willfully ignorant. That's a choice. Blessed child said, Tisa tells they hate that we rock with you. Family over everything. Yo, I love that. Blessed child. That's right. Family over everything. Let's do the Ben Diesel. Family over everything for the Fast and Furious. Kayla Roney said, Tisa, been following 2 years and finally became a member. Oh my God, thank you for being a member for a month, Kayla. Your truth is real and verifiable. You broke news and I know Pacer account costed. Thank you. But you know what? Y'all make it easy. So thank you so much, Kayla. Nunya New York Business says Epstein's date of birth, August 10, 2019. Who was date of death. Who was pres on this date? Exactly. She said, thank you. Someone thinks Epstein dying is justice for those survivors. Get the hell out of here. Exactly. No, I want his name tainted in the history books. It's not justice. And especially now they are trying to vindicate a dead man. Get Ghislaine Maxwell off. And what does this have to do with the Diddy thing? I'm telling you, it was not an accident that Trump even addressed the Diddy thing, which makes me think, if Ghislaine Maxwell has dirt on Trump, what does Diddy have on Trump? I'm just saying. Hibiscus Rose said, get him, T said, thank you. Tracy Rice said, Tracy White identified. She said, I'm a mad MAGA here. Listen, that's what I've been wondering. Like, does MAGA, like, are you guys going to still rock with Trump after this? Because to my untrained eye, this looks serious. CJ said, you're amazing. Keep giving us the truth. Have a great time on your vacation. Thank you. Blessed Child said, the scar Trump. Oh, they're scared of Trump because he got dirt on them. Plus, he's one on the list. Listen, Trump and Epstein were super, super close. Trump has dirt on everyone. But where's that list? Again, it has not escaped my attention that the Republicans voted to block it. But it also hasn't escaped my attention that Democratic leadership is not exactly fighting to get it out. That's all I'm saying. I get the whole Democrat-Republican thing, but in this day and age, I think we are rocking with, we need some working class solidarity. And I don't care whether you make millions a year or whether you make like 10,000 a year. We're all working for our money. We need some working class solidarity. I think they have fooled us into taking lines, the reds versus the yellows, the browns versus the blues. I think that they have tricked us into arguing and hating each other so much so they can sit there and just fleece our pockets, especially with this Epstein list, especially with this PDF surge that's going across our country, especially with what Diddy, Weinstein, all these people prove that you can be rich, powerful, and get away with the most low down, dirty crimes. All of these people are all friends. Trump used to be a huge Democrat. A lot of Democrats that when as Democrats came over to be a Republican, they don't care. They're literally jerseys they go and take off while they go into their rich person clubhouse and laugh at us. That we somehow think we're on the same team. We're not. We need working class solidarity. Democrat, Republican, and I don't care. Look at Andrew Cuomo, because he lost to what's his name? Rightfully so. Now he wants to run as independent. My whole point is we need to stop being so concerned with what is going on with, I think we need to stop being so concerned with what's going on between Democrat and Republican and actually realize that we are all on the same team, working class, and that the rich people are all on the same team, even though they come out wearing different hats. Hey, I'm blue, I'm red. Who's behind me? They're all on the same team. They're on team green. They're on team money and power. And as soon as we realize that they are on team money and power, and none of us, even if you feel like you do, you don't. If you get fired tomorrow and you got to go sleep at your mama's house 2 years from now, you are working class too. No matter how, it might take you 5 years, but if you got to go to your mama's house, you are working class too. The sooner we realize we're all on the same team and that none of us have the qualifications to ever be on that team. And if we are on that team, then we are no longer working class. I don't care if somebody grew up working class. Jeff Bezos is no longer on team working class. But again, I think this is the issue why they're able to play in our faces like this. Just the way Trump was like Democrat, Republican, he was throwing out all these buzzwords when really it's power versus not power, haves and haves nots. And I feel like so many people are desperate to be like, I'm not a have not. I'm on the have team. No, you're not. No, you're not. They're just making you think they were. Just like all those people that were wearing the Make America Great Again hats and now half their family, including them, are being deported. You thought you were on their team. You thought and you voted because you're on team. Yeah, let's clean it up and get rid of all these immigrants. Yeah, you just didn't realize that they were like, you're not on our team. We're just letting you wear the hat. But as soon as the game's over, we're kicking you out. Anyway, right? Listen. None of Your Business said another survivor told her story, and she said Epstein's weenie was like a mini big lighter. Notice the similarities. Tootsie Roll, only a mushroom head. I did notice that. And Angelica Serrano said, much love from Sydney, Australia. Thank you, Angelica. Let me tell you something. That I'm trying to find the phone. Oh, here it is. You guys are in luck. Hold on really quick. I want to read this to y'all really quick. And then I'm going to let y'all go. Hold on. It's a video. Let me see if I can cue it up. Because there might be a reason why they're so deranged with Diddy. I noticed that all these guys that are into like the yucky stuff, they seem to, where's that? All the guys that are into this yucky stuff, they seem to have some sort of deformity, if you will. Hold on, let me make sure there's nothing on this tape. Hold on. Hold on, I'm going to airdrop this to myself and then I'm going to play it for you guys. It's really interesting. Because it seems like all these people that were into this weird stuff, they had deformities, and maybe that's why they were into weird stuff. It's almost like nature was like, you guys shouldn't procreate, you know, like just very much not procreate. That's all I'm saying. Just very much not procreate. Okay, hold on. Let me put this in the thing. 1 second. Media source. Hold on. Epstein. This is the man that they said there was no... Oh, hold on. I have to fix this. This is the man that they said that there was no issue going on. Hold on. Let me just get this video. I don't want y'all... Where's the video of Epstein? Ah, here we go. I just got to fix this really quick. I just want to make sure that... It's an actual thing of Epstein being interrogated over his real crimes. When you look at this guy's arrogance, when you look at this guy's face, hold on, I'm about to show it to y'all right now. When you look at his arrogance, when you look at his face, when you look at his level of entitlement, and Trump has the nerve to say that this is all a hoax. Blessed Child said, LOL, Tisa got everybody coming at us, but we ready. Listen, it's cool. Maybe, listen, they ain't talking about ish. And we talking about real stuff. So it's cool. It's whatever. I've been having the time of my life. It feels so good. I'm getting this video up in 1 second. It feels so good to like relax. Y'all know I be working all the time. It feels so good to relax, be in the sun, chill out, take it easy. But don't worry, I realize also I'm getting back on my grind this week. Sarah said, working class solidarity. Yes, spread that consciousness, girl. Thank you so much. Baby, we need working class solidarity like yesterday. Okay, so let's get into where are we at? I literally named it Epstein. Hold on, let's browse this. Let's get this video output. Let's do... No. Let me get it on the screen. Okay, hold on. Can we press pause? Hello? Rude? Can I be on the screen? Jesus Christ. Okay, here we go. Let me turn this volume on really quick. Let's do settings. Gosh, this is difficult. Hold on. Settings, monitor, and output. Okay. All right. Are you guys ready? Are y'all ready? All right. Listen to... Oops. What did I do? Okay. Here we go. Listen to this.
The testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you get it.
Yes, I do.
Is it true, sir, that you have what's been described as an egg-shaped penis? I had hired psychologists to do a psychological profile on Jeffrey Epstein, what type of person he was, and what would actually get under his skin. What made him tick was that he was a narcissist. He had no ability to feel empathy and saw himself as the master of puppets, so to speak. Sir, one witness described your penis oval-shaped and claimed when erect, it was thick towards the bottom, but was thin and small towards the head portion, and called it egg-shaped. Those are not my words, I apologize. As Mr. Creighton has stated, that this is a...
Now, let me just say this. That lawyer, he's after my own heart. He said, they said it was thick toward the bottom, very small and tiny at top, called it egg shape. Sorry, don't mean to offend, not my words. Jeffrey Epstein was like, his lawyer was like, this is adjourned. But as you can see, they told him to sit his ass down. Hold on.
I'm willing to continue. I hate to go. He tries at all times.
They told him, if you don't sit yourself down,
to be the master of his domain and in control of his world. As soon as he feels he's out of control, it's unsettling to him.
Complaint filed by Virginia Roberts against you. Isn't it true, sir, that a friend of yours sent you 3 12-year-old females for you to sexually abuse on one of your birthdays?
Form argumentative, harassing, and irrelevant to this lawsuit.
But you're saying it's part of the lawsuit?
Yeah, I'll read it directly.
It was Jeffrey's birthday one.
So remember I said that I feel like defense attorneys who represent very, very, very rich people, I feel like they're morally bankrupt. But let's keep going. Not the people that represent working class, comrade. I'm talking about people that represent like very, very wealthy. I feel like they're morally bankrupt.
On one of defendant Epstein's birthdays, a friend of defendant Epstein sent him 3 12-year-old girls from France who spoke no English for defendant to sexually exploit and abuse. After doing so, they were sent back to France the next day. Isn't that true?
Once again, I'm going to move to strike. Irrelevant, argumentative, harassing.
I would like to answer that question. I really would. However, today, my attorneys have told me I have to assert my 5th Amendment, 6th Amendment, and 14th Amendment rights of the U.S. Constitution.
You're invoking your 5th Amendment.
Again, morally bankrupt. The way harassing this and that, and the way he had that smug little smile. I would like to answer that question. I really, really would. However, I need to invoke, I bet you do.
Right to each of these questions because you know that your answers will incriminate you and you feel that it will result in you being prosecuted for these crimes. Isn't that right?
Objection, argumentative, harassing, and calls for a legal conclusion.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, I do.
Is it true, sir, that you have what's been described as an egg-shaped peanut? Or I'd hired psychologists to do the psychological profile on Jeffrey Epstein, what type of person he was.
Yeah. So listen, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. YM Droid said the bots are out tonight, but as always, you know what time it is and clocked everything. Keep spreading sense. Girl, listen, you know the weird thing? Forget it. You know what? We're talking about news and real stuff, and they talking about us. So I don't know. None of your business said it's a masculine thing. They feel they are missing. So they feel masculine doing the bad things to women to make up for the missing inches. I don't know about that. I'm starting to think it might be some evolution-ish. I'm starting to think that they are deformed in the brains and in the pants. And they're deformed in the pants because they're not meant to reproduce. I think in a world where we didn't have money and power like we have now, but if we were just like back then, we're like, I don't know. I just feel like because they're messed up in the brain, God made it so that in a world where you weren't blinded by everything else, you would look at what's in their pants and be like, and run away, and nobody would ever touch them. I really honestly think that might be what's going on. I don't think that they were meant to reproduce. I hear most people that are not, well, I can't say most people, but I've heard a lot of people that I know that have dated narcissists that they're not very well endowed 90% of the time. And when they are endowed, it's just regular. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't know. Again, listen, it is what it is. Listen, it is what it is. Tootsie Roll, Eggland, we'll call him Eggland's best. Eggman. We got Tootsie Roll and egg salad sandwich Epstein, egg salad Epstein and Tootsie Roll. Like, he's the Cadbury chocolate egg. What's his name? Cadbury? Milk chocolate eggs and Tootsie Roll. Y'all, listen, at the end of the day, hey, Valentine, what's up, mama? Thank you for being a member for 19 months. Valentine said, hey, Tisa, my mom's still with me. Love you. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Valentine. I am so glad to hear that. Listen, between Epstein and Diddy, they were both Valentine. I'm so happy to hear that. You guys send some love out to Valentine's mom. She is hanging in there, and that's what's important. And let's send some more healing prayers to give her strength. Listen, at the end of the day, who said that? Flight log means nothing unless they went to the island because Epstein rented out his jet just like Diddy. Survivor's voice, that's not true. The flight log means everything because the flight log that they showed, they actually showed where they went to. And it was the flight log to and from his island to Florida and other residences. That's why the flight log that they released was so important. It shows that the people that went to the island, how long they're at the island, and when they came back from the island. So I actually do think it means something. Linan 5425 said, any other presidents do all Trump is doing, the country would be so mad. Stop protecting the pedos. Listen, here's all I want to say. Trump told us there was a list. Pam Bondi told us a list. Half of the Republicans told us there was a list. They also said they would be exposing the list. We all waited on bated breath. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, I wanted to see the list. I wanted these perpetrators held in the action. There wasn't just hundreds. There were thousands of little girls that Epstein, and he didn't do it by himself. He was arrested for that. To say Maxwell went to jail for that. Okay? Oddly enough, just saying Maxwell went to jail for what they did to Virginia Guffey, but what Diddy did to all these women, he didn't deserve to go to jail. Interesting, right? But he went to he went to jail for that. Well, he was going to trial for that. Just say Maxwell went to jail. They told us it was a list. We saw the flight logs. If you look at the flight logs will tell you where they were going and where they landed. All the flight logs, and it was heavily redacted, the names, but you could see they were landing on the island and they were leaving the island. That private jet was to go meet up with people, pick them up. Maybe they had a layover and he'd stay a few days and then he would take them to the island. That's what the jet was for. That was the jet was for. Okay. We saw the redacted names. We saw them going to the island. We knew that he had a Rolodex of some of the most rich and powerful people. He was throwing parties. He invited him. The same Maxwell was sitting and Kevin Spacey were sitting in the king and queen's throne room of the British monarchy. They told, and this is all I want. It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. I'm sick of people arguing over Democrat, Republican. We're all working class. We're all broke jokes to them. We are all nothing but at best worker bees and at worst an annoyance that can be eliminated like that to them. Why do we feel solidarity for people that wouldn't even spit on us if our eyebrows were on fire? The point of the matter is, they said there was an Epstein list. We know there's an Epstein list. We know it because they said it, but we know it because we're not stupid. It's logical. What's not clocking to you? What's not clocking to you, right? We know this. All right. They told us this. They campaigned on this. They said they were going to release it. And now all of a sudden, are they not even releasing it? They're now trying to say that there was never a list and it was a hoax made up by James Comey working with Joe Biden and Barack Obama, as if we didn't see how much James Comey was up Trump's butt and how much he was hurt and sad when Trump got sick of him and fired him. And he fired him because he thought he was an idiot, not because he was disloyal. He just was like, yeah, I don't like you anymore. Go away. So, and now we're supposed to believe that everything they just told us, whether you agree with Trump or not, everything you just told us for the last 3 years was a lie. And everything you told us while Biden was president about the Epstein list was a lie and you kept it going and now it's a hoax. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Again, this was the dumbest thing ever. This did not change the subject. Now this is making me watch this even more. Nunya says that could make sense, but Diddy had kids. Okay, now they're in here saying if the survivors settle, then the lists don't matter. Again, get the hell out of here. Well, that's the funny thing. A lot of the survivors didn't settle, and the survivors that settled were the Americans that the federal government got to testify against them. There are a lot of women overseas who were young, impressionable, and from poor and working class families who did not have the access, means, and were not American citizens to get in on that lawsuit. And a lot of them were so screwed up from what happened to them in childhood that they went off on a path of a horrible path. Some of them suicided, some of them had OD'd, some of them not on purpose, but they did. Some of them were drug addicts for life. Some of them had become full-on sex workers. Some of them were so humiliated and embarrassed by what happened to them that they just wanted to move on with their lives and moved on and built lives in silence, holding that shame, that guilt, and that grief. So everybody didn't settle. Only the people that were brave enough or strong enough to do it. And by say strong enough, I don't mean that the others were weak. I mean that they somehow found the support to see it through. And honestly, we saw the way things went with Diddy. I now will never talk trash about any victim that doesn't want to come forward because I saw what happened with the Diddy trial. And the only reason that didn't happen with the Jeffrey Epstein people is because Jeffrey Epstein allegedly was suicidal. So they couldn't start the smear campaign that they would have. Because Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire and he had pictures with Trump, Clinton, and half of these politicians on the Republican and Democratic side, and half of the world leaders and royal families. Please believe they were ready to smear those girls and go on a war path, destroying their whole, what was left of their life. But again, it is what it is. I'm going to ignore the trolls. And if you think that's what it is, it isn't. But again, I mean, where's the list? Show us a list and we'll decide for ourselves whether it's something to be looking at or not. But I want to see the list. I want to see the list. I want to see the list. Okay? Again, this is deep state on, and I've never been a deep state person. This is deep state on another level. Money, power, influence, cover up. It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. The question is, how much is Trump's base going to look the other way at this last indignity? Because this is a lot. And again, I think where they messed up was the whole country only unites on a few issues. One of them is PDF files. And the fact that the whole country, whether they voted for him or not, was waiting with bated breath to see that list. And not only did that list not come out, but they told us that it was a hoax and the list never existed. And Jeffrey Epstein was a man who was deeply troubled. Doesn't that sound familiar? Isn't that what they're now saying about Diddy? He was deeply troubled. Epstein wasn't even a PDF file anymore. He was just a deeply troubled individual. Y'all, listen. Anyway, AKD said, oh, thank you, AKD. You said, thank you, Tisa, for all that you do. Listen, y'all, let me get out of here and get some sleep. Y'all know I'm still on vacation mode, but I swear to God, tomorrow I'm getting up to work. Speaking in existence, I'm posting 4 videos tomorrow. The next day, I'm going to try to post 5, 6. We're going to get right back up to the 7 videos a day I've been posting since I started this YouTube channel almost 4 years ago. We getting back. I know some people just jumped in with Diddy and they think that we're getting back to the 7 videos a day that I was posting before Diddy and we're going to post after. But thank you so much for allowing me this week of vacation to kind of just chill out and post 2 videos a day. But starting tomorrow, we are getting back to business and back to work. Oh yeah, I want to give a shout out to Tessa said, Tisa, why will no one play and discuss the Katie Johnson affidavit video? Why? She had relations with Trump at 13 years old. There is an affidavit. Listen, Tessa, tomorrow I'll either go live or I'm going to make a video about it. And it will definitely be, let me take a video of your super chat, not video, but a picture. I will definitely, in your honor, go live about that. We actually talked about that earlier. I actually did a whole video about this like a couple of years ago, but doesn't matter because who was watching it? I only had 300,000 subscribers a couple of years ago. Listen, Tessa, I will 100% either go live or I'll make a video reading an affidavit because you're right. People do need to know about it. And I think when you know about it, you start seeing where this deep state thing lies. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Anyway, you guys, listen, let me get out of here. Thank you so much for joining me, Tessa. I like your name. You're just Tessa and Tisa. We are twins. Where have you been? Tessa and Tisa. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me get out of here. And thank you so much for allowing me some vacation time and actually rocking with me. However, we will get back to the 5 to 7 videos we normally update every day because, baby, that's how we built up our following of over 500,000 people. We got the bump up to 600,000 with Diddy, but, baby, we will never abandon our basics and we will go back to reporting the news, the petty, the funny, but also this mess because what the hell, you know? Anyway, you guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.